you meet her in the book. The first thing you noticed about Miss Root was her teeth. She had the most dazzling white smile, whiter than white, like a fluorescent light. Her teeth were absolutely flawless, so flawless they couldn't possibly be real. The second thing you noticed about Miss Root was that she was impossibly tall. Her legs were so long and thin, it was like watching someone walk on stilts. She was dressed in a white laboratory coat, and underneath it, her white blouse was matched by a long white flowing skirt. As she passed, Alfie looked down and noticed a large splash of red on the toe of one of her shiny white high-heeled shoes. Is it blood? Thought Alfie. Miss Root's hair was white blonde and arranged in a perfectly lacquered do, usually only spotted on the heads of queens or prime ministers. The do was shaped much like a Mr. Whippy ice cream, minus the flake, of course. Finally, Miss Root reached the front of the hall. She turned around and smiled. The low winter sun shone through the high windows and bounced off her teeth, causing the front few rows of pupils to cover their eyes. "Good morning, children," she said brightly. The dentist spoke in a sing-song manner, as if she were recounting a nursery rhyme. There was a collective groan from the kids at being spoken to, as if they were toddlers. "I said, good morning, children," repeated the dentist, as she fixed them all with a powerful stare. So powerful that soon a hush descended upon the room. Then in unison, all the assembled pupils said, "Good morning. Let me introduce myself. I am your new dentist. My name is Miss Root, but I ask all my little patients like you to call me Mummy." Alfie and his friend Gab shared a look of disbelief. "So, can I hear a great big hello, Mummy? After 3, 1, 2, 3. Miss Root mouthed the words silently as the children joined in. "Hello, Mummy," they murmured. "Excellent. Now, I came to this town when a very unfortunate, indeed a fatal accident befell Mr. Erstwhile, your previous dentist. The poor wretch must have fallen onto one of his own dental instruments. The irony. Of course, there's no need to go into all the gory details, but suffice it to say, Mr. Erstwhile was found lying on the floor of his surgery in a huge pool of blood. The dental probe was embedded deep in his heart." A deafening silence descended on the hall. Alfie gulped. It was a horrifying image. Mr. Erstwhile may have been old and doddery, but could he really have accidentally stabbed himself in the heart? "Mummy would like you all to give 1 minute's silence for Mr. Erstwhile. Now close your eyes, children. All of you. No peeping." Alfie didn't trust Miss Root enough to close his eyes, nor did his friend Gabs. Both screwed up their faces and squinted. From out of the tiny slits in his eyelids, Alfie spied something very strange. Instead of standing at the front with her eyes closed, Miss Root tiptoed around the room, inspecting all the children's teeth. When she finally reached Alfie's row at the back, the boy squeezed his eyes tightly shut for fear of getting into trouble. Miss Root must have lingered looking at his rotten teeth, as the boy could feel her cold breath on his face for a while before she tiptoed back to the front of the hall. "And that's 1 minute, the dentist announced. "Thank you, children. You can open your eyes." Alfie and Gabs looked at each other again. They were the only 2 kids who had witnessed Miss Root's peculiar behaviour. "Of course, Mr. Erstwhile will be sadly missed," concluded Miss Root. "But as your new dentist, I asked your wonderful headmaster, Mr. Gray, if I could come here today. Mummy wanted to give you all a chance to get to know me so I can welcome each and every one of you personally to my surgery. Now, I'm going to begin today's little talk with an incy-wincy question. Children, how many of you hate going to the dentist? All but one kid put their hand up. No one actually enjoyed going to the dentist. At best, it was tolerated. The one boy who didn't put his hand up was too busy texting. Alfie reached his hand in the air as high as he could. Oh, so many hands! Ha, ha, ha! She laughed, though not in a way that suggested she found it funny. So how many of you really hate going to the dentist? Encountered Miss Root in that sing-song voice of hers. Most of the hands stayed up, and Alfie actually rose out of his chair so his hand would be the highest. This boy was the king of really hating going to the dentist. Well, Mummy is here today to tell you there is absolutely nothing to be scared of. The words danced in the air as she spoke. If her tone of voice was meant to sound reassuring, it didn't. It sounded the opposite of reassuring. It was, in fact, decidedly non-reassuring. That's a made-up word alert. Now, I need a volunteer. Hands up, said the dentist. All those little hands that had been up were now well and truly down. To avoid confusion, Alfie shot his hands down to his feet. Any lower, and they would be underground. He wanted there to be less than 0 chance that he would be picked. Nobody? Asked Miss Root. Even the swats and show-offs kept deadly silent. Come on, children. I don't bite. The dentist smiled and flashed her blindingly white teeth. Who hasn't been to the dentist for a very long time? She purred. The pupils started whispering to each other and looking around. Soon, hundreds of pairs of eyes were glaring at Alfie. Everyone at school had at some point noticed his teeth. They were so bad, they might as well have been a tourist attraction. They could even have their own cafe and gift shop. The dentist followed the children's gaze and fixed her eyes on Alfie. Oh, yes, I thought it might be you. Miss Root's long, thin, gnarled finger pointed straight at him. You, boy, come to Mummy. When Alfie's shaking legs finally propelled him to the front of the hall, he looked into the dentist's eyes for the first time. Miss Root's eyes were black, blacker than oil, blacker than coal, blacker than the blackest black. In short, they were black. The dentist stared long and hard at the boy before uttering, Don't be scared, child. There is nothing designed to scare a person more than being told not to be scared. Let Mummy have a little look at your teeth. Alfie kept his mouth firmly shut. Open wide. There's a good boy. Suddenly, Alfie felt as if he couldn't help doing exactly what the dentist told him. He opened his mouth, and she peered inside. Oh, moaned the woman in pleasure. Your teeth are absolutely abhorrent. The whole of the lower school laughed at him. Ha 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 ha! Except 2 children. Gabs, who looked on with sadness at the cruelty, and Texting Boy, who was still texting and had missed everything. Oh dear, What is your name, child? Inquired the dentist. Alfie, miss, the boy spluttered. Call me Mummy. After losing his mum, there was no way he was ever going to call anyone that, least of all her. Alfie what? Continued Miss Root. Alfie Griffiths. Well, young Alfie Griffiths, you simply must make an appointment to come and see me in my surgery very soon. Alfie shuddered at the thought. Do you like presents, child? Like all kids, the boy loved presents. Yes, he replied. Well, Mummy's got a little present for you. for being such a good boy today. Here, have a free tube of my own special brand of toothpaste. From her trolley, Miss Root picked up a thick white tube with the word Mummies emblazoned in big red letters on the side. The slogan, "Mummy loves your teeth," was inscribed in small black letters under that. "Alfie, we shall meet again," she said. "No, we won't," thought Alfie. "Oh, yes, we will," she whispered. It was as if the dentist could hear his thoughts.